Now, the Young Turks, Cenk, Ben, and Jill with you. Now, we've gone on quite at length here today, dissing some of the things we see on conservative cable news stations. But by conservative cable, by the way, we don't mean just Fox News. We mean MSNBC and CNN as well. But there are some lone exceptions, and they do a terrific job. One of them is Jack Cafferty on CNN. Here he is talking about John Tobacco Checks Boehner in the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. I almost like...
I haven't heard this, so I'm very anxious to see.
I almost like Wolf Blitzer's reaction almost as much as what Jack Cafferty says. But Cafferty doesn't let up. This is a piece of work here. Go ahead, Jesus. Run it.
Cafferty joining us once again with the Cafferty File. Hi, Jack.
How you doing, Wolf? You know, these guys are either arrogant or stupid. And neither of those is a good thing to be if you're going to be the House Majority Leader. John Boehner, elected to replace Tom DeLay in the House, just as the report suggested. DeLay, remembers, under criminal indictment in Texas. So Boehner's trotted out, and he's being touted as the Republicans' answer to reform. The second thing we find out about Boehner is he rents his apartment from a lobbyist whose clients have a vested interest in legislation that has come before Boehner. The first thing we found out is that he accepted more than $157,000 worth of free trips to places like Scotland, he's an avid golfer, since the year 2000. The trips paid for by lobbyists. And Boehner thinks that that's a practice that should be allowed to continue. Am I missing something here? Where's the reform part? I wonder how long this guy is going to last. The question is this: do you see anything wrong with a congressman renting his apartment from a lobbyist? Email us at CaffertyFile@CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. I mean, wouldn't you think if this guy was going to be advanced by his own party to be the reform guy in the House, Wolf, he would have moved to a different apartment? I mean, hello, is anybody home there?
But you did hear Ed Henry say it is a basement apartment, which is not necessarily all that desirable. And
Can we stop it for 1 second? I'm sorry. Can we stop it or no?
And pigs fly upside down, and the moon's made of green cheese, and there's no quid pro quo from a lobbyist who's also your landlord. Do I look like I just fell out of the back of a vegetable truck to you?
No, you look like Jack Cafferty.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Jack. We'll get back to you.
All right. Let's rewind it to the part where Wolf... Can we rewind it to the part where Wolf starts asking the question again? Ben, that Wolf Blitzer thing. But it's a basement apartment. It's not a big deal. I mean, they're all basement apartments. That doesn't mean you live in the basement chained up. They're perfectly lovely apartments. They're kind of like ground floor apartments. Yeah, I mean, how much of a Republican talking about? We only have a minute left. I want you to see Cafferty's reaction again. This is just precious stuff.
I mean, hello, is anybody home there?
But you did hear Ed Henry say it is a basement apartment, which is not necessarily all that desirable, and he's paying the fair market value.
Yeah, and pigs fly upside down, and the moon's made of green cheese, and there's no quid pro quo from a lobbyist who's also your landlord. Do I look like I just fell out of the back of a vegetable truck to you?
No, you look like Jack Cafferty.
Thank you.
I love Jack Cafferty. I love Jack Cafferty.
You know, I don't even have that much of an objection to this particular Wolf Blitzer moment because, in large part, it seems to me they met probably. It sounds like it was discussed ahead of time, and he was just setting Jack Cafferty up. It actually worked. It couldn't have worked better.
I don't know. I'm not sure Wolf Blitzer was expecting. Do I look like I fell out of a vegetable truck to you? You go forward, Jack Cafferty. Young Turks.
This long